You're saying what attracts you to these machines?
So I grew up on this old TRS-80 Model 1, and being an educator myself, the one thing that I appreciate and I like about them is that they're so simple. We can understand them from hardware to software. And today's machines have become so complex. There's really layers of abstraction that it just becomes difficult to understand them. And I'm an educator myself, and I can see that students nowadays, they don't have any appreciation anymore. If you ask them, okay, you wiggle with the mouse and tell it to the end what happens from hardware to software, they cannot do that anymore. So that is what attracts me to a retro computer. It's take me back to the old days, but also days when you really had to understand the machine. The way I learned programming is you had to buy books back in the days. When you wanted to play a game, you had to buy a book that had the basic program. You had to first spend like 2 days typing in a long basic program. You tried to run it, it had mistakes. You had to again debug it. So that's how, in a very playful way, I learned how to do programming. Nowadays, you have those platforms like Android and iPhone. They're meant for consumption. You click on the button, you download something, you pay for it, right? But it is lacking this educational component. So this is what attracts me to retro computing.
What are these running on?
So I and a bunch of friends of mine design and build those boards. And we're just showcasing here what these boards can do. So for this old metal one, this board here acts as an external hard disk. So when you power it on, it will boot off hard disk images that are stored on this SD card. It also creates the HDMI signal. So this HDMI monitor is mirroring this old CRT monitor. So if you have an old Model 1, but if you don't have a Model 1 monitor anymore, you can actually use this card to show it on a modern HDMI monitor. But if you change the dip switch configuration here, you can turn this card into what we call pocket trace mode. So now this card actually was a complete replica of the Model 1 here. So that is what we do. We design and build these boards. It's an effort on also preservation, right? Because these old machines are difficult to come by nowadays. And by building this board, basically it preserves the old history of the TRS-80.